Morning, guys. All right. As Mora and Xanabu are letting me know, I am 5 minutes late today. My apologies. Okay. Nope. We just added $6,000 more to hat purchases. I wonder if I should, on stream today, edit the cost of Filthy Robot hats. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Okay, I liked yesterday. I don't want to redo yesterday every single day, but I do have a shit ton more comments for this particular video, and my sense of finishing something makes me want to go through these right now. So. All right. And the two other things I kind of want to think about are what game next and how much more do we want to do of Frostpunk. I like Frostpunk. I haven't particularly liked this scenario. This scenario feels a little bit, it's like challenging without being fun, if that makes sense. So we'll see. But all right, let's see if we can get through these in a relatively quick period of time. I enjoyed it yesterday, but I don't want to do it forever. So one of the problems you'll have is that people generally don't come to watch you check out games because of the advice element. People want to watch your content and when you've already mastered the game to improve their own play. Yep.
You have returned.
Didn't you just resub like 2 days ago, Tomulus? Thank you. For 16 months, man. Welcome back. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I've struggled with over the years, and this is why I think the format ends up needing to be essentially variety plus some games we get super in deep with. Because I'm nearly certain that I think I agree with the sentiment. People want to watch the guide videos of me playing games at a really good depth, and to do that you have to become an expert. And to become an expert, you have to spend time. So, hey, Dehydrogenase. I was just talking about that a second ago. All right, you should do a Civ 6 tier list. The current state of the game is definitely better in the early stages of the game. Generally, I feel with your skill with Civ 5 and Civ 6 is one of the things that makes you special. A Civ 6 deity playthrough where you upload a 20-minute episode per day and tackle different challenges like a culture victory or something similar while experiencing the unique mechanics and tools of that specific Civ. You should blah, blah, blah. I'm not playing Civilization 5 or 6. Civilization 6 is a terrible game. It isn't in the least bit fun to play, and I have zero interest in doing playthroughs of that. It's too bad. I think it would be content that would be very, very popular on my channel, but too bad. All right, started watching you Civ 5 days, mostly for your that's supposed to be competence. And I also guess for your passion. Continue watching you play XCOM and MTGA, but I haven't watched for a while because the games you've been playing lately I find boring. Battle Brothers. Specifically, I feel they interact with you in boring ways that don't draw out your strengths. To come back to Civ 5, why I found your Civ 5 games so good. That is your intense motivation to win over other human players. Passion, human players. I knew like the asshole tank or the annoying dude Dr. Pepper or Unique. Or Unique. Tank and DP and Unique are all pretty good guys. Although I had a bit of a falling out with the group that Dr. Pepper played with at one point. Dude, you're overthinking it. No. This is a dumb thing to tell people, by the way. People watch your content because they like it. Oh, but why do they like it, bro? And if I were to design more content towards why they might like it, why might that be? How would I design that content? What axioms would I keep in mind as I'm creating content for these people who like it? He says, keep it up. I've decided the main reason I appreciate your content is the opportunity to learn from your logic, intelligence, and thought process. This isn't game specific or restricted to gaming itself because improving one's priorities and clarifying one's goals to life in general. Apply to life in general, excuse me. It's also one of the reasons I rarely comment and chat on specific strategies. I'm Carebrick on Twitch, even though I do play many of the same games. I mainly tune into your streams for my second monitor at work, so I'm mostly listening. Hope a great 2020 for you. Thanks, Carebrick. It's nice to hear the way you analyze your choices. Works great with all the strategy titles. Have you tried the Paradox titles? Feels like you might like EU4, CK2, HOI4, etc. Yeah, maybe HOI. It's on the list. Hey, Tom. Where are we on that? The progress of that that master list we're going to be building. I think I would like to in the near future, next couple days. I'm going to take Tuesday, Wednesday off this week. My wife gets home Wednesday, and I pick her up in the morning, about 10, which means it's kind of fucking awkward for everything else. But when are we going? I would like to, I think, transition off Frostpunk into something else in the next couple days. So, all right, moving on. Paradox titles. Yep, we like Paradox mostly. Watch your games for. Watch your channel only for the guides. You're extremely good at the games you play. Civ 5, Darkest Dungeon, Civ 6. For the games I watch the guides for, the guides go down to every single detail and give insights or game mechanics I cannot find on any other channel. And I appreciate that. Yeah. Not negating that comment, but like, yep, this is information we have. So it's just continuation of that information. You watched my January State of the Channel. I have quite a big message to respond to it. Can I better post in the comments of the vid? Yeah, it's you want to post it. It's gonna get lost in Twitch chat. I would post it as replying to the video where I was asking for feedback. It's a good way to do it. Originally found you in Civ 5 and love the content as well as your XCOM content. However, the best content by far was your Darkest Dungeon content, in my opinion. Could you play Endless Legend? Is this a game that we should go back to at some point? Did that get like heavily updated? I remember Endless Legend being kind of fun, but there were a couple mechanics I really fucking hated, like having to manually update my army's weapons. This is again going to help when I have better people to make suggestions. Okay, Tomulus, we should talk about that on stream a little bit. Might be worth me having a look at it on stream and then talking about it. Maybe we can get some crowdsourced suggestions on how to implement the voting. Feels like it might be a good time for that if we're close enough for that. Better people, sad face. You know what I mean. Don't take it out of. Don't blow it up into some weird thing, Xanadu. God damn. Go look at some fucking hat porn or something. Holy shit. I enjoyed your owning the shit out of people in Civilization 5 multiplayer. I enjoyed that too. Min-maxing gameplay based on rule sets, self-imposed or otherwise. My wife and I have that. Oh, that's kind of awkward. Not that particular running joke, but a very similar running joke, which is my wife likes shopping online for clothing. I don't like shopping online for clothing, mostly because I only have to do that once every 10 years when I buy another pack of white t-shirts. And those things last forever, and they only get better with time because they get more comfortable. So, anyways, but she really likes buying clothing online, and I call that her porn, because every time I come in and she's taking a break, she's browsing clothing online. So kind of it amuses me. It amuses me the various ways that people spend their free time. All right, thank you for your content. When I watch Darkest Dungeon guides, Civ 5 guides, Battle Brothers guides, yeah. What I'd watch in the future. Your story on how you became a streamer, how your friends and family reacted, how you support yourself, your daily routine. I like to watch from people. I have this video. This video is on my channel already. Do we link it? I might link in the video. All right. It's one of my favorite videos that I've ever recorded. I had a lot of fun with it. And that was this one. This one here. Live Q&A on being a streamer. Let's do a quick reply to that. All right. All right. Your story on how you became a streamer, how your friends and family reacted, how you support yourself, your daily routine. I like to learn from people from different backgrounds and I think your viewers from different backgrounds live? I'm not sure if that's a live or live in context. I like to learn how people from different backgrounds live. There you go. And I think your viewers would enjoy that. 2, I noticed lately a lot of streamers are struggling with getting more subs, views, and more importantly, they're not sure what to play, what their audience wants, and what will attract more new viewers. My suggestion is to try different games and play what you like. Could be an old game or a new game, strategy, action, RPG, whatever. See, this is well intended, but I think ultimately bad advice. This is in a similar vein to Be Yourself. And it's great, but that's not a business strategy. The only thing that matters is that you enjoy it, except it isn't. There's a really important component of also matching that my viewers enjoy it. And that has to be met or we can't grow. People can easily see when you don't like a game and play it because you have to. You try to finish the game faster, make mistakes, don't play efficiency. I hate that. Don't play efficiently, rather. I hate that. Hope this helps. Happy New Year and good luck. Yeah, it's well intended, but I don't think very helpful, the second part of that advice. And it's not his job to know, but it's good hearing the feedback as I see it. Okay. Hey, Filthy, glad to see you again. I started watching around the time Civ 6 came out. Back then, it was really hard to find people making videos about actually playing the game properly, min-maxing, etc. And your channel was a breath of fresh air, but not a breathe of fresh air. After a while, you more or less solved the game with early trade hubs into self-caravans into super industrial rings and left the game as there's only one correct strategy and no real decision-making. From there, you did a bit of Civ 5 multiplayer and then started Battle Brothers. I know you're a huge fan of Battle Brothers, but I just couldn't get into it. There's a lot of people say that about Battle Brothers. After a while, your vids stopped appearing in my feed, I assume because of the shitty YouTube algorithm, probably because of the shitty editor coverage, actually, and the huge breaks my YouTube has had this year, which has been really bad for it. I was watching Jorbs recently and he mentioned you, which inspired me to see what you've been up to. Surprised, you played a shitload of other games, but they don't show up in my feed. Feels bad, man. The thing I most like about your content is that it feels much more sincere than what I see from many streamers. You talked about how many people on YouTube just grind for the sake of grinding, and I hate those channels. The fact that you're sincere and good at finding powerful strategy in the games you play make them fun to watch for me. I think one challenge for you and me and everyone who likes strategy games is that strategy games recently have been kind of shit. So it's hard to find one to really go hard on. The best game I played last year was a pornographic. Was he just setting us up with the hard on part? So strategy games really been kind of shit, so it's hard to find one to really go hard on. The best game I played last year was a pornographic Pokemon-style RPG called Monmusu Paradox RPG. Part 1 and 2 are out so far. The game is incredibly deep. Is that another sex pun? Designing effective parties is super interesting, and a lot of systems are just really well executed and fun. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, the game has heavy pornographic elements. But he plays it for the strategy, I got it. The overwhelming majority of enemies are monster girls, and they're all fucking naked. So you can't play it on stream. Path of Exile is fun, but not really consistent with your content. I haven't checked to see if you played Divinity 2 Original Sin. That's a pretty neat RPG that's heavily influenced by tactics and group decision making. I didn't find that. I found the combat tedious in that game. Not sure if the Hands of Fate games are your cup of tea. Don't know that series. They weren't great. That certainly isn't much of a endorsement for that series, but they were okay. Kind of fun deck building, exploring RPG-ish games. You mentioned Stellaris, but the Stellaris community recently had to revolt to get the devs to put DLC on hold to fix the problems with the performance in the mid-late game, basically assigning jobs to all the pops in the game was making the game shit itself. I haven't checked on that in a few weeks, but I assume it's still the case. Maybe once they fix that, it'll be worth your time to check out. Recently, I've been watching Link to the Past randomizer races. Those are games where your decision making and your player skill makes a big difference. I don't know what that is, but it's all real time, so I don't know if you'd be down. Like I said, your content has always been the most sincere I've found on YouTube. I watched a few videos from the new editor and that shit's hilarious. Nice to see some filthy clips. I might check out the full format VODs sometime too, since I never knew about your other channel just for that. To be honest, I wish you'd dump them here and make a playlist for each game, but I know that stuff is a pain in the ass to organize. It's not about being a pain in the ass to organize. That was how we did our channel for years and years and years. It was about the immense amount of pushback I got from viewers who didn't want their feeds spammed with a bunch of segments of a game. That's why we split up that channel in the first place. Thanks for all the great info you've given. Look forward to seeing more. I mean, it's a well thought out comment. Organizes his thoughts well, gives me some actual suggestions in that vein. I think it's a really good YouTube comment. I don't think I can do much with this. It's not like I'm going to go, it's not like I'm going to go install and play a pornographic Pokemon style RPG. Although perhaps we should just, Shiroing channel, maybe my mod should ping him with this later. This might be his type of game. So try to remember that name for him. And I did appreciate the either intentional or unintentional sex puns in here, which I thought were clever. And if they weren't clever, it just shows the power of the human mind. There we go. All right, this is not a knock against you in particular, but I seriously don't think you'd enjoy The Witcher 3. Oh, I thought he was going to say something nasty about me right afterwards. But why would that be? Why would I consider it a knock against me if I wouldn't enjoy The Witcher 3. That's totally reasonable. We watched the preview. We watched the preview trailers for it yesterday. It looked like fucking hot garbage. You can't break it down like a strategy game. The mechanics the game have are serviceable at best. The combat is extremely rigid and deep. And what was the last one?
A resplendent offering.
New name every time with the $50 donation.
Thanks for good content.
Thank you very much, mate. I did, in fact, enjoy your... you posted some comments yesterday in the Discord, and I enjoyed that type of feedback as well. I appreciate you guys taking the time to respond to this video. It was a call for responses, and you guys are coming through in spades, and I'm getting a shit ton of responses. I appreciate that. That's a huge donation. Thank you very much for the support. And you said something kind of weird yesterday. I hate to call you out directly on it, but you're calling attention to yourself with this donation, which is you sometimes find it scary to open your mouth in my chat. I don't really want to set that up as a thing that people are experiencing on my chat, but I also think there is some benefit in having a thick skin, and being teased and being able to be teased and teasing people back is a really useful skill to have in life. So I'm not sure that that is going to ever go to zero, but I will try to keep that in mind. All right. Okay. What am I reading for? You can't break it down like a strategy game. The mechanics the game has are serviceable best. The combat extremely rigid and mediocre and scatterbrained. The narrative is good. The exploration is fantastic, and the side quests really hold up. Don't go in expecting in-depth mechanics because you won't find them. Yeah. I think RPGs... I think what we will end up doing on this channel, I've been thinking about this since yesterday, right? I think the two things I'm gathering from this are we can't do big bursts of RPGs on this channel, especially if they aren't very hard. And the second thing is there are some RPGs that might be an exceptions to this rule, the really well done ones, the really hyped ones, etc. But I think we're probably going to try them in a couple hour segments towards the end of streams. And then I'm going to try very hard to make sure the YouTube content for them comes out simultaneously so people can keep up to date with them and actually enjoy the story for that. I don't know if that will change me min-maxing them, but it may change a little bit how I think about interacting with that. So we'll have to be very picky about RPGs. I don't want to give up on all RPGs in this channel, and I think somewhat of teaching my viewers to enjoy me enjoying those games is probably worth doing. But I take the, I think, fairly broad and now fairly accurate, broad in the sense that many people are having this criticism, and I think accurate because I think I agree with the criticism, that it probably isn't a super good fit for why people are tuning into my channel. All right. I started watching you in December of 2018 because you were playing a game that I was getting into. I got hooked when I learned you were an EVE player, but I kept watching you through different games because I liked your educated view on interactions with people and your personality in general. I stopped watching around the start of TFT because it was a game I wasn't into, but I kept supporting you through until about November. Eventually, I just realized I was paying and not watching for many months and canceled. At the time, it was because I was not interested in the games being played, and when I did try to watch you and breaks which you totally deserve. Overall, I think it is a lack of games that I found interesting, which I understand is shitty feedback. Actually, it's really good feedback, not shitty feedback at all. It's a specific problem that I can potentially do something about. I've also been having a lot of trouble finding a game I'm really into. That is a recurring theme too that we're hearing from the comments. People are also finding it tough to find a good game right now, which is weird. I thought we got a lot of good suggestions yesterday, but again, this is a selection issue, and we can address the selection issue. In fact, are addressing the selection issue, and might even be able to talk about that selection issue a bit more on stream today, depending on where Nerf and Tom have got to. I found your channel to be a good balance between someone that is good at a game and not the same damn game for years on end. I find that important for my mental health. You seem to be good at games because you put in the work of critically thinking about it, and not because you played it for many years. I prefer variety streamers because the same thing for years on end is boring as fuck. If you ever looking to blow up subs in EVE, let me know. I don't play much anymore, but I could fund an army of people for years with what I have left. I loved EVE, but I have no intention of going back to that game for any sort of serious amount of time. And I also don't think it's a game that does very well with streaming. Sadly, it may have the same issues of Crowfall for streaming, but maybe not. I think EVE had a couple extra additional issues above and beyond Crowfall. Things like fitting are much more important in EVE. Things like your movements are more broadcast. The fighting is more sporadic in EVE. There's a lot more time in between fights, etc. So we'll see. Hey, QB. All right. Has Filthy considered playing Battle Brothers Legend mod? Yeah, but I'm not very interested in it. Love the Civ 5 videos. Thanks. Curious if you're having fun with Phoenix Point. I actually did a review of the Phoenix Point game. I didn't do a Filthy's first look at it, but I did do a kind of like summary of my experience with that. if you are interested in that. I could link him that video maybe. It is kind of weird though. Kind of weird people struggle to find videos on the channel. I don't know how to make it more easily navigatable. Really don't. Filthy summary. Phoenix Point highlights. What is that handsome man with that red but not white shirt? All right. Curious if you're having fun with Phoenix Point. I watched others play it or listen to it. I'm not always actively watching. The game made me feel like it was wasting my time almost immediately and haven't played it since. Still hopeful that it becomes good. I think it is something that could become good if they would actually make those systems meaningful, but at the moment they don't feel meaningful at all. I started watching because of Darkest Dungeon. Good info for it. Always like those videos. Maximize my time when I play and let someone else do the work of finding out what's bad. I feel like this is a very good service that I can provide for our community. RPG games are good. But with one story, I don't watch playthroughs of it because it basically takes away the only reason to play it. Those types of games I'd see if good for YouTube as helpful information. Those types of games, I'd see it good. Maybe he see those as, I'm not sure how to parse that. In the end, some of what you say ends with you made it a job. You can't always enjoy your work. It sucks. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think every aspect of your job is not always going to be pleasant, but that doesn't mean you can't always enjoy your work. That's why you get paid for it. If you want 1 billion views, you have to do what's popular or find a game like Mario, which just has limitless content for the same game. Otherwise, just get used to having 100K subs and possibly have a side job and enjoy what you do. I think he means YouTube subs. If I had 100K fucking Twitch subs, I'd be a very, very happy man in terms of my income. Sometimes you have to give into the mass of what you want to maximize money, or give in to yourself and just realize you have the fans you have and could grow slower. Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. The sentiment I think is, I don't agree 100% with how he's phrased this because I don't think it's quite as binary as that. But I do think setting the boundaries of what you're willing to do on your channel.
Woody.
And
always love supporting you, bro. Haven't had a chance to watch the state of the channel yet.
Thanks, Lord Steve. Welcome back, man. I really recommend it. We have a pretty big heart-to-heart with the community about what's going on right now on the channel. I don't think this is quite as binary as he's making it out to be, but I do think there are good boundary conditions to think about here. You know, and if one of my boundary condition is I'm willing to try new games and see whether or not I like them, but if I get to the point where I don't like them, one of my boundary conditions is I'm not going to keep playing them regardless of how financially viable they are, or rather, unless with the current financial incentives, it just isn't worth it for me, then that's worth knowing. And it's worth knowing about myself, and it's worth knowing about what I'm going to do with the channel, and it's probably worth it for the viewers to know that. So I don't think it's quite as binary as sometimes you have to sell out and just suck it up, but I do think it's informative to realize that, you know, that is going to be a trade-off either way.
Quitters never win.
A Thumb 2. Welcome back, man. Happy New Year's to you as well.
Happy New Year, Filthy.
You guys thought I was slurring my words when I wished everyone Happy New Year's on Twitter as opposed to Happy New Year. I don't know why I say it that way. Probably could think it through. It's probably just a mistake, but I wasn't slurring. I'll admit I found myself on your channel early last year simply for some insight on what Battle Brothers was to decide if I wanted to buy it. Why do you have to admit that? That's a utility I'm very happy to provide as a channel. That was it. Yours were among the first videos that showed up when searching for it, so there I was. Yeah, being high on the fucking search algorithm is a huge deal for draws, and my guide videos tend to do that eventually. Then I came back after purchasing because you had some guides. I didn't want everything spoiled for me, but just enough to get me situated. I stopped coming here as I found Battle Brothers to be a much bigger time investment than I had initially realized. Wasn't he talking about Darkest Dungeon a second? No, it was Battle Brothers. Okay. And I had other games I was putting time into. But here I am. I rewatched a lot of the same videos I'd already seen just as a refresher before I dive back in. Now I'm watching your Season 8 playthrough on my breaks at work and in bits while I'm home. Found out you stream on Twitch and have followed and watched my first stream today. Cool. That's what I want to see from the YouTube channel. I want to see the YouTube current channel and the Twitch channel cross-pollinate as much as possible. I want people who find me through guide videos to come check out my Twitch, and I want people on Twitch to check out my guide videos when they're useful to them. That's cool. That's what they're supposed to be doing. As far as what might keep me here going forward, YouTube is filled with over-the-top characters. Filled. A lot of hyperbole. Clickbait. It can be hard to find genuine, not streamers or content creators, but players. Because you're still one of us, it feels. Not fake, no persona needed. Yet you're not an elitist from what I've... You may not have watched enough of myself. You're not an elitist from what I've seen so far. Or maybe we have different understandings of what that means. It's been covered by other comments, and even by yourself. It's the passion. The want and the enthusiasm to dive deep into mechanics and numbers, but in a meaningful and not boring way. I think some of my viewers would dispute the not boring part. Now I'm seeing you covered Civ 5. What about Civ Revolution? I kid, except not really. I love Civ Revolution. DD and XCOM. At this point, it's just a similar interest in games. I think I can be a regular viewer. Cool. Filthy elitist confirmed. Probably. I mean, not in every moment of everything, but, you know, kind of picky about the guide videos, man. The whole point of them is then to be elite content in the sense that they are useful because they are good, and making them good is important. And I think that's, I don't know, maybe we're misunderstanding elite. I see elite thrown around as an insult. And I'm kind of like, I don't really feel like that's an insult. All right. Okay. Hi, I was reluctant to write, but after I saw how you go through the comments and some resonated with me in part, I wanted to add a few ideas. I first found out about you through Battle Brothers. What I enjoyed was you playing on the hardest difficulty, having your men die, and just succeeding to have a great game despite of your good characters dying. I like games where I can do that. Games where you have to have succeeded at all your decisions are boring. Overall. Or in long bursts. Having your characters be able to die makes for great stories. I just save scum my way through events like that, but I enjoyed watching you play on a level I can't or am very frustrated to play on. I liked your thought processes, your passion and problem-solving thinking in every situation you allowed yourself to be in the game. Most of the situations you had control on, some were enforced on you with random encounters. Despite grim situations or even having to restart the playthrough, you maintained a fairly general positive attitude. That's what I'm known for, my positivity. I liked your witty way of expressing frustration, not too many obscenities. I'll work on that. I like my obscenity count high. Even though you do have a math approach to it, you did weave a story in all your characters. I didn't feel like I was watching math operations with a skin. Every build was thoroughly considered, but every character that ended up like the build had a story. You left the impression that you relatively cared about each, for some less, and naming them after viewers brought an interaction that was hilarious in dire situations or super random lucky ones. Triple P Archer, Billy Death Row characters, which most of the time ended up being resilient to your efforts of killing them. Yeah, it was fun to have that viewer interaction of naming. I like that in games where I can do that as well. It makes the stories more personal stories. I like that as well. And I like yelling at my subs in the game context. Thinking about this some more, I believe you do well in games following that pattern. Battle Brothers, Darkest Dungeon, XCOM, D&D, which I assume is Dungeons & Dragons here, Battletech, and Civ 5. Unfortunately, with something like this is just looking at games that have done relatively well on my channel, minus Battletech, although we might come back to that. And saying that this is a pattern of those games. Yeah, but the utility of a pattern like that is the predictive element of it. So it would have been nice to have predictions there as opposed to just kind of restating what we know here. Games that can be broken down into math equations but spun with a story. So that whoever's watching is having an interest in seeing how the builds play and sticking for the story journey also. I believe your problem with RPGs is you don't leave the impression that you like playing them as much as you like playing the games mentioned above. These games, they don't have the same fatality built into it, meaning that the way more viewers can play the game, it's the same difficulty that you play it. You forgot to add the personal story to the characters so viewers are not connected with them. I think we've talked a lot about the issues with RPGs. I think we have some quasi-solutions or semi-solutions we can implement moving forward if we want to keep trying RPGs. And we are going to try at least Cyberpunk and probably some others from time to time, but I think we just have to be a little careful of how we do them. I don't think full days of RPGs, except for maybe the release cycle of Cyberpunk, is going to be that viable. We'll see. Maybe a new approach to RPGs is required. Have a 100% run thing. Kex recommends this too. Problem with 100%, I'm not so sure about that. And this way you have the opportunity for people stuck in different situations to go to you for a solution. That's a fair way of phrasing why that might be useful. If people are trying to do this themselves and haven't been able to, then that gives them a resource to find that. I don't know how you would make that into a guide video. The RPGs I don't know. Maybe you'd have to do it on a what am I looking for? Per achievement basis. But I've never really been a big achievement hunter. It doesn't really do anything for me. It feels like a really artificial barrier or goal. You can still break them apart, and this is superb as you explain why some skills are better than others and why your way is the optimal way, but add some connection to the characters. You don't even have to play the game for the default story. We're going to experience playing the same game, but spin it around. Example, Witcher 3 game. Everyone knows it's about a Superman character slaying monsters and swaying some girls from time to time. Dude, what if he had used slaying there? Swaying? Why not define your own version of Geralt? A drunken fucker who has to drunk after a fight or forgets the horse from time to time, has to run from place to place, who's always picks the meanest of every option in every situation. Or you can be a shining knight. Well, that won't be happening. Playthrough not stealing and always positive in choices. Whatever you can do different than everyone else's standard experience will bring an audience. In this way, we're not expecting the same playthrough. We already know from playing the game, but a different character in the same universe.
Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year's. Mine was shite.
Hey, Nazir. 2 days ago now, I did a stream, Nazir, where I broke down my trip and how fucking miserable it was. So, it wasn't that my New Year's and Christmas weren't okay, but I was sick and traveling, and the traveling was a nightmare. So I feel you, man. Welcome back to the channel. I don't know. I don't know if this is enough, and I don't know how doable that is, or even how fun that would be. It's certainly a way to differentiate, which is good suggestion. Please do try to be as happy as you can playing any game. I can't bring myself to see you in a shitty attitude when I watch you. I come to you for a good time, not for added stress or bad attitude. I don't mean to offend you with my ideas or words, so please forgive if something does not sound right. This is such a weird... Is this generational? I'm soliciting feedback. It's okay to give me critical feedback. That's the point of me soliciting feedback. You don't need to apologize for offering your feedback. This wasn't harsh at all. This wasn't rude. This wasn't harsh. This was... I don't know. It's so weird to have so much apologies for this. Wish you well, and I hope to have many good years watching your content. I think this is the entertainment element of streaming, right? People come to be entertained, and sometimes they can enjoy my stress and annoyance, but not if it's like kind of directed that way. If it's amusing for me to be angry, then it's fun. It's not so fun when I'm just like shouting at viewers or something. I think what separates you... All right, let me just check up on chat real quick. All right. Yeah, Xanadu, I'm with you. I'm close to done with that right now. Although I want to check out the DLC when it comes in. This has been the most tedious of all of the scenarios so far in Frostpunk, because it seems to be the most set in stone, the opening. I think what separates you the most from other YouTubers and what I enjoy the most is how you break down and analyze the games you play. Started watching for Civ 6, but I also enjoyed Darkest Dungeon Battle Brothers. I actually have a kind of weird suggestion of something you might like to try. You could try playing on Pokemon Showdown. It's very strategic on a couple of layers in terms of team building composition. There's an additional layer in battle where you need to try and identify your win conditions and work towards them while predicting your opponent's plays. I know you've done some collabs before to learn new games, and I'd recommend PokeAim MD if possible. He's an extremely knowledgeable competitive player that could teach you a lot. Bonus for Pokemon Showdown is you could go to the website and play it totally free, no download. I've never been a big Pokemon fan, but if there is a good strategic game in the Pokemon universe, I can live with that. I've never heard of this game and don't know why this would be the one, but it's certainly not something I would rule out on the channel just because of the content. Battle Brothers has kind of reminded me, you guys have taught me through Battle Brothers that even if the game looks like fucking total shit, it can actually be really, really good. So, got to be a little bit more open-minded about that. I used to watch Darkest Dungeon content because I was playing at the time. You knew your shit, min-max, etc. I learned a lot. I'm totally okay if that is how some people engage with the channel. That's what I want. That's why I create the content I do. I'm at 18 minutes so far. I'd agree with your assessment of why people watch. For the problem of finding games, I don't have a solution. I wish I could find a game I want to play as well. I can't say you'll enjoy it, but I have two adjacent ideas. First, you could expand into spectating and commenting on games like Age of Empires 2. I'm not against. If we get heavily into a game again and that game supports replays, I like the idea of picking up viewer replays from time to time. I think analysis of games that you're not a direct player of, especially when you have a lot of information about it, can be good. So I'm not all against that idea. And I think it's a good idea to think about in the future. It might be something I just have to, like, one of my mods ping me at later. I don't mean like any one of you has individual responsibility for this, because it's such a set of conditionals that need to occur. We need to find another game that we get passionate about and really involved in, and that game also has viewer engagement, and the viewers are actually playing games, and then we figure out a way to get them to submit games. But I like the idea of doing viewer replays. First, you could expand into, and we might even do that with something like channel points. You know, someone could be like, "Oh, I've got X thousand channel points, and bam, Filthy, would you, I'd like you to replay do a replay of my game style thing." Could be pretty fun. Second, maybe look into making your own game. I have no interest in that. I'm really passionate about game design, which I'm not. With the amount of effort you put into playing a game, I'd like to see your passion designing one. Although I understand, A, it probably wouldn't be the most interesting to watch, and B, I'm guessing you don't have any coding experience, so after watching for a while now, I can't imagine it'd be too difficult for you to learn. It doesn't even have to be too complex of a game either. There are ready-made engines like RPG Maker, one of the interactive fiction language like Inform, or Visual Novel Express like Ren'Py. For why RPGs don't do well, my guess would be people experience them when they immediately come out by YouTube or playing it themselves and don't find it too compelling to experiencing it for a second time. And at least from what I see on YouTube, you don't immediately start playing the game when it comes out. For example, when Death Stranding came out, since I was quite sure that I didn't want to buy that game, I immediately searched for someone that was playing it and kept watching for like 3 weeks. And that same person until I got my fill watching it. My assumption is the strategy genre is significantly forgiving on the timing aspect of streaming a game, especially with the depth and passion you put into it once you find it. Yeah, I don't want to be one of the channels that immediately has to chase every single game as it comes out for hype or they left behind. I would like my content to be different than that and survive the timing of playing a game through until we're done enjoying it before moving on. I saw you reading through the comments of this video on Twitch, and when you mentioned you might try a challenging RPG, I wanted to recommend Pathfinder Kingmaker. Setting the game to highest difficulty and going for the true ending makes it insanely hard to beat, even with min-max party. I'd certainly love seeing you theorycraft for it. Yeah, I think we are not going to be doing RPGs particularly much on this channel, right? Certainly not older RPGs. And the game was interesting when it came out, a little buggy when we played it. We played it as a bounty on stream for an hour, and I watched Joe play a little bit through that, and the game looks okay. It didn't look to me any better than Pillars of Eternity, just from the viewer perspective of it. Similar kind of combat, etc., but I don't think we'll be playing that on channel anytime soon. I watched you because of your analytical approach to strategy games, whether that's XCOM, Battle Brothers, or something else in that vein. It's going to be enjoyable for me. Okay. Not sure if my opinion is relevant to anything you've said in the video. But there's a bike of yours that I'd like to return. But hey, you've asked for them, so there you go. For me personally, it turned out to be impossible to follow the variety of games you were streaming. And I've decided that I'm lacking free time to learn new games, thus I'm not going to. As a past viewer, I'd love to see you stream games you've been streaming in the past, like XCOM, Long War, Darkest Dungeon. Probably not Civ 5 though, because that community is heavily toxic. I have watched you in the past because with your stream, I could get very involved in a game, similar to how I like to do it, so I could follow along. This actually doesn't sound like Kuba, but maybe it is. I don't know if it is. I saw him in Arvis's chat the other day, I think. I do enjoy your content. I think what draws me to your content is your level of expertise. This is best displayed through strategy games, and maybe why I wouldn't be quite as excited to watch you play The Witcher 3, even though that is unreservedly my favorite game of all time. When I want to watch a Filthy Robot video, often it means I want to watch a game I'm interested but intimidated to play myself, like Darkest Dungeon or especially Battle Brothers. I bought the game, I sat down to play, and I realized I had my greatest enjoyment from the game when you were behind the wheel. If you want to play an RPG, Witcher included, then find a way to put your spin on it. I don't know what that means, but I know I'd want to see you experience it in a way that I wouldn't do myself. I hope this helps in some way. Happy New Year to you and yours. Thanks. I love your strategic analysis of games. Civilization games and Battle Brothers were my favorites. I like to listen to your guide videos of games I play. Usually while I play them, I may check a little of the playthrough to see how you deal with something, but that's about it. I'm not a stream watcher. I don't watch other people play games, so I can't help you on that. But as a game teaching, you're pretty good, in depth, and on point. I wish you the best of luck, but for streaming as entertainment, I can't help you because I don't get it. Maybe that's the problem. You appeal to people who do not usually watch streams. Also, this year's games, there weren't many to strategize for. Yeah. I think certainly it's been tricky finding the gems this year for games, and hopefully this coming year 2020 will be will be better for that. But I think there's some that we can retouch, come back to. This is going to be, again, this just highlights to me the selection issue. Other people are also finding selection difficult this year, but we can do a better job of it. We can crowdsource that shit. This is the benefit of having a community, or one of the many benefits. All right, what was the first part? I don't think this is totally true. Certainly people watch YouTube who don't engage with Twitch, but I don't think there's... I think people engaging with gaming content will engage with it in multiple different ways.
12 months PogChamp, or 8 streak. Happy New Year.
Hey, Wyo. Happy New Year to you. Welcome back. Can't believe it's only been 12 months. Feels like you've been a part of the community longer than that. All right. What am I looking for? I'm looking for webcam filter. Because... webcam software. All right. Mr. Scott Reed. Been around the channel since around game 100 of Civ 5. Have continued to watch your content over others because you, 1, you're very mature in how you go about playing things. No stupid screaming, no clickbait bullshit and such. 2, you play similar games to myself and normally are way better at said games, meaning I can learn a lot. 3, your passion to win and be the best you can be at the game is really fun to watch. 4, when watching you live, your interaction with chat is amazing, and you have an awesome chat viewer base. Chat, he complimented you guys. 5, the way you break things down and try to understand them is awesome. Very interesting to watch. Thanks for compliments, man. On a side note, the new editor's next level, by the way. The memes and stuff are awesome. I'm glad you enjoy them. It sounds like this is someone who really, really engages with my content, right? This has been around for a long time, like the way you do things, like the way you set things up. Pretty happy about things. Great viewers to have. And this is not a criticism to this comment, but doesn't tell me a lot when I'm soliciting feedback, except perhaps that what you're doing does it for this viewer. We know Scott. Really do miss the Battle Brothers and XCOM stuff. Even to this day, I go back and watch old Civ 5 games, sometimes even ones I've watched before. I disagree with the other comments in regards to RPGs, which I do normally wait to watch a playthrough till after I've played it, watching you play it. I disagree with the other comments in regard to role-playing games. While I do normally wait to watch a playthrough till after I've played it, watching you play it differently and normally much more effectively is very interesting to me. One reason that could add to why RPGs ain't doing amazing is because it is a single player, which doesn't draw out your competitive nature, which is something I really do enjoy watching. I would love to see The Witcher, as I won't have a chance to play through myself, but I would like to see that story. Also can't wait for Cyberpunk. Yeah, this is a very hyped game. Also agree with the, and not like in a negative way, like just this keeps coming up that a lot of people are hyped for this game. Also agree with the idea of going back to games that got updated. Slay the Spire comes to mind for me, especially as I really enjoyed that content, excuse me. What was this? Liam Ferris for the 4 months. Thank you. The sentence structure is fine. It just needs commas. It's hard to parse how to read that. Yeah, cool. Happy viewer. Nice to have happy viewers. I've watched you since the Civ 5 days, and due to IRL things for me, I started watching less after your EU4 days. I love the rapid level of understanding of games that you get, and then pushing that knowledge forward to other people. I streamed for a period of time, played about 2,000 hours of one game and 500-ish of another for 10 to 14 hours a day, and it ruined both the games and streaming to a certain extent, so definitely don't do the grind. Kind of nice to hear first-person experiences of that. I suspect that would be the case. I've been doing this for years now, and I want to protect against burnout as much as possible. Probably produce a list of played games and recommended games in Discord, then once a week compile it with a pinned Google Doc. We are doing that now. That is literally happening now. We will have that list. The games that I've done review videos of, we will have the review videos linked to that list, and we're going to implement some way of future thinking with this, either through games I'm considering, chat recommendations, super recommenders, things like this. This is going to happen because this is one of the big take-homes I had from this last couple months. I would love to see you play Warframe, Factorial, Axie Infinity. Reply to this if interested, because I can get you some starter stuff for free, although it might not be up your street. I'm writing this as you're talking, and I've watched that Civ guide multiple times, lol. I love hearing that. What a great thing to hear. Basically, you made some ridiculously long video, but it was good enough and useful enough that people watch it multiple times for the information in it. That's pretty cool. Hope I get a chance to see you at TwitchCon. Me too, man. Cool comment. I don't know anything about Warframe. That's a online MMO couple years old, future oriented, like future sci-fi oriented. Factorial keeps coming up. I'm feeling, I don't know what it is about Factorial, but I'm super resistant to wanting to play that game. I think commas, you can think of commas as pauses, really. It just tells you how to pause in your natural language flow. Civ 5 was what I was watching. Basically, people want to see you pick apart games in a technical sense. You used XLS files to analyze Civ. That was crazy. Did I? I don't remember doing that. Is this a real thing? When did I use XLL? When did I do this? Warframe is a looter shooter. Okay. I'm returning to Civ 5. Absolutely. I donate now, and for sure I'll do it. Came to your channel for Civ 5 and Darkest Dungeon because you really break down the mechanics of the game and how to get the most out of them. So in that way, I agree with the passion and education assumption. It's not that you need to only play those two games, but I'd love to see you do content like that for a game again. This guy should check out my Battle Brothers content, man. After watching your channel, I went to Civ 5 and beat it on Deity for the first time and got back into Darkest Dungeon. You being compassionate, critical, motivated me to go back to it. If you found... Oh my God. All right. I haven't had any interest in the games you played since Civ 5 personally, though I totally get why you expanded. Go do what you enjoy. But what got me watching your videos was how incredibly detailed and in-depth your videos were. You really go in deep in every game you play to be the best you possibly can be, and it shows. I don't think you're an entertainment channel, really. I think that's a faulty assumption. I think what he means to say here is there's other things going on in your channel in addition to entertainment. But the thing is, everyone watching video game content is essentially doing it for entertainment value. Yes, some people do it to tune in because they're stuck on something specifically, but most of the time that's going to be a fairly small variety and a small portion rather, and that only represents a small portion of when they view gaming content, right? So you go, okay, I'm stuck on this, and you watch something, but you might stay around and watch the rest of that playthrough because the guy's interesting or the game looks fun or blah, 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 right? I think entertainment is definitely possible, or definitely part of this. Definitely more educated for the hardcore players of the games who've come to learn from the master in many ways. Like if I wanted to watch a comedy fun video of Civ, I'd watch Yogscast or whatever, but I want to get better at Civ 5, I'd watch you. Yeah, but I think this is just a matter of where the breakdown is. Yogscast is like 99% comedy, 1% gaming skill for Civ 5. Maybe even lower than that in gaming skill for Civ 5. And then like my content for Civ 5 is much more of a mix of, higher mix of educational and lower mix of comedy for that. I watched your Darkest Dungeon things and subbed from this time long ago, but I didn't watch the other things because I'm not interested in these games. I think this is a problem when someone plays a lot of games and makes in-depth explanations, because when one series is over, a lot of people will move away. But great work, to be honest, in Darkest Dungeon vids. You were my favorite DD content creator at the time. The others I can't judge. Okay. I would suggest a Civ 5 revival. Can I tell him to end himself? I probably can't, right? I'm not supposed to do that anymore. I would suggest re-education. I need to Google it. That's probably not hyphenated. It's re-education. That's a euphemism, by the way. Yeah. Okay, it's not hyphenated. All right. Re-education. Smiley face. Okay. Used to watch you on YouTube, Twitch for years. Love Civ 5, Civ 6, and Darkest Dungeon guides, but to be honest, I've been a lot less consistent in how thoroughly I follow you since then. Wasn't a huge fan of Battle Brothers or Frostpunk, for example. My motivation for watching you is definitely your unique ability to explain strategic ideas in a really digestible and straightforward way. As for RPGs, I think there's some of the more story-based ones with higher difficulty levels and higher build variety would probably be the best for attracting the biggest share. I agree. This is the conclusion I think we've come to after 2 days of discussing this, right? Which is, and a lot more than 2 days of thinking about it, which is we're going to need higher difficulty level in the RPGs to get any interest in them, and high build variety would also be good if that's a portion of the game is actually strategizing. Get you the biggest share of the existing crowd. DOS 2 off the top of my head. I'm not playing DOS 2. I did not like that game, which is surprising because everyone likes that game, but I don't like this game. That's something that I, as well as friends of mine that are also fans of yours, would definitely be interested in. As far as non-RPG game recommendations, I'd plug Hades, as well as some well-made roguelike with tons of replayability that I think your audience will really connect with. Like what? I don't know this game, by the way, Hades. Yeah. Love watching strategy guides for games and seasons of XCOM, Civ, and Battle Brothers. I'd definitely watch any strategy games you're interested in playing. I would recommend Path of Exile. I know you for your Civ videos. I like your analytical mind. I think you'd find PoE interesting. It's probably one of the most complex games out there. I would probably love your take on a game that has more action but very deep mechanics that people can explore. PoE is growing very fast. It's free, so anyone of your viewers can watch. And it gets new content every 3 months. I think it'd be great for your channel. Good luck. Thanks for the thoughts. I don't think PoE is going to be where we go. I think the barrier to entry is very, very high on PoE, and the payoff for getting into that is not all that great. I don't mean the financial payoff. I mean, the game was fun, but it was kind of like relaxing fun for me. Reminded me a lot of playing Diablo 3 a million years ago, where it was like I'd finish graduate school and have an hour left to before I'd finish my work for the day with graduate school and I'd have an hour before bed style stuff, and I just wanted to relax, and I'd go play Diablo 3 because I could just spin to win, and all these shiny shit would drop out, and then the shiny shit would give me all that dopamine of like, oh, I'm doing something. I'd level up and I'd get like a new piece of armor, and it'd be relaxing as fuck, and I'd go to bed. I understand getting tired of a specific game, but for me, you have not replaced Civ 5 slot. I enjoy you breaking down games I like, so I'm waiting for you to find a game I care about. Yeah. I think he should try some of the games that I really break down, though, because I think I can show him games that he would learn to care about if he got into them. I think both Battle Brothers and Darkest Dungeon are amazingly good games. Well, Filthy, personally, I couldn't follow you as much after you switched from Civ 5 since the games you tend to play. So this is interesting too, chat. Think about the themes that we're seeing today in these responses compared to the themes of yesterday, and think about the timing of these responses. So the first wave, so I put this video out, the first wave of people to watch it are essentially the people most in tune with my channel right now, the people who are most interested in what I have to say at the moment, most bought into the community as something that they're looking to for entertainment. Now we get kind of the second wave here, which is my subs who are getting, my YouTube subs, who are getting content notifications of this stuff showing up, but it's a little bit later, right? They're not like, oh, Filthy's got a new video, we're gonna watch it right now. This is like a day later style stuff. And then think again what this is gonna mean in like a week or two as this video sits up here, has a fairly decent view count, and then people are gonna kind of be like, oh, let's engage with that for a little bit, right? We're gonna get a different round of responses. And this is why I'm doing this again today, because I think it's a different, what was what I'm looking for? It's a different sample of people. And if we judge, so getting the opinions from different samples of people is actually useful, right? If we're soliciting feedback. All right, well, Filthy person, I couldn't follow you as much after you switched from Civ 5 since the games you tend to play are games that won't get boring for a while. So they're complex, and I didn't have enough time to study those new games. And then by the time I got into Darkest Dungeon, you were already done with it. That's how it is with games that require strategy and attention. It's much slower to get into them and takes a long time to grow a community. As far as I understand, you mostly been focusing on single player since then, and that's why there's a lack of core games in my opinion. Once you make every guide there was to make about Darkest Dungeon and competed with the AI in every way, you didn't have the same drive for it anymore. Something like Civ 5, I think I read this comment. Have I read this comment already? In something like Civ 5, you would clock in 3K hours and tell us about the new way piety would be useful, or how to play Liberty properly, or why Denmark was quite a bit stronger than it seemed to at first. I think the biggest contributor to such interest and amount of strategies, the need for innovativeness was the multiplayer aspect. In essence, if you aren't looking for a multiplayer game, you're much likely to find something that would grip you for a long enough time to not feel a little bit lost in what to do. You're just too good at getting to the core of things. Yep, we'd love a multiplayer game. All right. I think have we read these, or was this something I read last night after stream at some point? Because these are feeling fairly similar. I can't remember what we read on stream. Any of my viewers who are here for that remember if we've read these? Let you guys catch up. I never got to your comment yesterday because it wasn't showing on your comment dashboard. Have I got to it today? Because we could delve. There are, oh God, do we open this? It's in the top comments. All right, let's finish reading down to Dr. Honk here. Your voice is insanely good and you're good at talking. Tempo, emphasis, variation, always significantly above average voice. I think your unique charisma is enough for Twitch for, I think your unique charisma is good enough for Twitch for a community of people who looks for a particular thing. I watch Civ 6 and Darkest Dungeon guide content because those are the games I play. I didn't watch things like Frostpunk Battle Brothers because I don't play those. I really just like the way Darkest Dungeon LPs were uploaded when I wanted to watch them because the videos were extremely short and there's like 100 of them. I would have preferred like 20 to 30 minute video segments. They are 20 to 30 minute video segments. Maybe hour segments. Looking at your channel and scrolling through 1,000 8-minute videos is kind of discouraging. I don't have 8-minute videos on my channel. If I knew how to be guaranteed successful at streaming on Twitch, I'd be doing it myself. Obviously, playing big games on release might help, but man, no clue on how to be big on Twitch. I've never seen your RPG content on my recommended box on YouTube at all. It blows my mind that people use the recommended box on YouTube to figure out what they're watching. I might watch in videos about Tyranny, PoE, and other CRPGs. I played all of those and I prefer them over strategy games in general, but I've never seen your content for it. I'm not a regular viewer. Okay. I'm not sure what that's about because that doesn't actually reflect the reality of the videos that I'm aware of. Makes sense. People watch me for the videos, the games are interested. Makes total sense to me. The goal then is to make people think of me when they're thinking of what games they want to be interested in, and I think variety streaming helps with that. I find your hypothesis for why people watch you fits well with what initially drew me to your channel. You're a smart guy and you break down the nitty-gritty of games you're passionate about really well. I initially discovered your channel back in the Civ 5 guide days. As for suggestions of new games, I always thought your brain awkward, please. Okay, we read this comment on stream. I remember reading this comment on stream. Okay, let's see if we can find these missing comments. We're gonna open this folder briefly. I may require immediate eye bleach and or brain bleach, and we may close the folder rapidly. But let's take a second, hype ourselves up, deep breaths, focus, clear your minds. All right, into the abyss we go, likely spam. Bam. Time to change topic. Gaming will never be what it was again, or for a very long time, IMO. You're cleaver, honest, and straightforward, which most are not, shills. But warning, if you decide to speak truth, you may be targeted or demonetized. Steam what interests you, period, comma, or you will fail. Your assumptions about why people watch you and what they want from you are fantasies. You will see by comments. Go with best attempt of channel you see. You have a fallback, many do not, so try to please followers till no one likes them anymore. But not showing up for streams you picked the time and location for makes you look like a person with a bad habit who has lost control of it. So maybe you should have gone with grind and depression. Instead, I just didn't feel like it. That comes off as immature, selfish, and puts your followers on back burner. You're more important than them. You didn't feel like being with them when they showed up for you. Your time is more important than theirs. Most will feel hurt and walk away. Oh, hold on. Most will feel hurt and walk away. Okay. Make content first thing in the morning. Then you can have the rest of the day off. You have no job, so have 24 hours a day and can sit down in your house. That is your job. Wait, what, you can't film with your cell pH like every other content maker? I'll say this, you cannot think your way through this. M, if you have to feel like it to do it, you are very weak, not being able to do the tech for the show. You're a talking head, therefore. You're, still wrong, you're a personality and need logos, shirts, and such. You will have to bring random people, quotes, like Rogan, on to talk games. Talk games. When you use those bracketed S's, what you're generally meaning is the singular or the plural works in this location. Can we try that? You will have to bring random people like Rogan on to talk game. No, I don't think it works with the singular. This should just be games with no brackets. See if a dev from a new game will give you an hour on stream, etc. All right, this is not spam. So I'm going to approve this comment. This is someone called pseudoscientist, I think very appropriately here, who is offering advice and feedback in the vein that I requested. I don't think very much of their advice or feedback. I think there's a lot of delusions in here again. I feel like I've seen this before. The idea that, where is it? The idea if you can't force yourself to do something you don't want to do, it's weak. I think that's a bad way to structure your life. I think the way you want to actually structure your life is to play to your strengths, understand yourself, and try to develop routines that allow you to be yourself without fucking forcing that to suck all the time. I think not showing up for streams is something I address directly in this channel, something that I don't like doing. I also think it makes me look bad, and I think it's not something I'm very interested in doing, and something that I'm actively attempting to change. I think our assumptions why people watch and that their fantasies, and you'll see by the comments, has been pretty clearly disproven by the comments we're getting. Or at least the people commenting suggest that we kind of nailed it while people are watching.